kindergarten. I was in about third grade. I thought I was a really cool third grader, and I would be mortified because she would come downstairs and we would be in one of our matching outfits. And I would throw a fit because I didn't want to be seen with her in our matching outfits at the bus. But as I got a little bit older, I quickly got over that because I learned she was definitely the cooler sister. If you're familiar with the 1998 Lindsay Lohan classic, The Parent Trap, I am the more uptight one from London, Annie, and she is the very cool one that lived on a vineyard in Napa. And as we got a little bit older, when I went to college, I was the one that was stealing all of her clothes instead of the other way around. So, needless to say, I just love my sister to death, and I am so lucky that I get to be her big sister. And I'm now so excited that I get to call Andrew my brother-in-law. I still remember the first time that I met Andrew. Oh boy. So it was my birthday party. We were going tubing on the James River, and Katie and Andrew were still at Tech. So they drove all the way from Tech into Scottsville, and in a shocking turn of events, they were running late. Not only were they a little bit late, but they had also been overserved the night before. And so we get there, we're all waiting. It's my friends, it's my parents' friends. We're all kind of waiting there for Katie and Andrew to get out of their car. And so they're going down the line, and this is really, I think, Andrew met my parents, but not anybody else. And so Katie's introducing them. This is my boyfriend Andrew. This is my boyfriend Andrew. And they get to my husband Steven, and my husband Steven shakes out his hand, or puts out his hand to shake it, and he goes, "Hey man, heard you're a really great kisser." And thankfully, Andrew stuck around after that. Anyway, but they're the very best couple. I am so happy for them. I knew that Andrew was the one for Katie when we were going on a road trip, and we were all getting packed up in the car, and I think the boys went to make a run. They hadn't had breakfast. So Andrew was running to Chick-fil-A to go get himself some breakfast, and he said, "Katie, Laura, what do you guys want?" And we were like, "Oh, we're fine. And he came back, and he brought us chicken minis anyway. And Andrew, I actually asked them this the other night. I said, "When did you guys know that she was the one?" And Andrew said, "From that very first date party." So here's to Katie and Andrew, the very best couple. I'm so happy for them. Cheers. And I will hand it over to the brothers of the groom.
Buckle up, Andrew. I'm not brave enough to do this off the cuff, so I have a little bit written down. So, hello everybody. I'm Brian, for all those who don't know me, and by far the best looking of the three brothers. First off, I'd like to start by thanking all of our wonderful friends and family for making the trip out. I've tried to make this as calm as possible for you, Andrew. So in that case, my Venmo is open. My big brother Andrew has been guiding me through my entire life. He's always been there when I need somebody to ask, for somebody to stick up for me, teach me, or give me advice. I've learned a lot from Andrew, and definitely learned what not to do. Andrew is many things. He's funny, he's caring, smart, driven, and passionate. He's very passionate about giving advice. He's also passionate about proceeding to not take that advice. I can remember on multiple occasions where he'd give me advice, and sometimes it was helpful. Most of the time, it just wasn't relevant. The main piece of advice that stuck with me over the years is big ears, little mouth. This applied especially when I was younger, and my older brothers had friends over when they were definitely not up to their best behavior. Being the youngest, I always wanted to be a part of what they were doing, so that required playing one of Andrew's favorite games, the quiet game. So Andrew, I'll share that same piece of advice with you for life with Katie. Big ears, little mouth. That being said, I've tried to follow in Andrew's footsteps my entire life. I especially hope to follow his example and end up with somebody as awesome as Katie is for Andrew. The first time I met Katie was when I was around 13 years old. She had come to our 4th of July celebration at Westwood and had some of their infamous Westwood lemonades. Seeing the two of you together for the past 7 years has been awesome, and it's been a blessing growing up with both of you. It surprises me every day that anybody could tolerate Andrew for this long. I'm so excited to see that we finally made it. I'm finally able to call you my sister. I wish you both the best of luck. I love you both very much. And finally, Katie, no, Andrew cannot come back to the basement. I'm going to pass this on to my older brother, Steven.
So Andrew told me I could quit the page turner here. That's where I air my grievances. First off, I would just like to thank the Styles on behalf of the Hars family. Tom and Lee, thank you for hosting us, the Hars, as well as the very extended Garrity family. I want to take a special moment to thank our grandparents for being here, Patsy, Jim, and Jeanette, as well as Gagi, Ken, Kenneth, and Robin. It's truly special that you guys are here, and so I feel you guys very like to have that. So, to them. So I want to ask a question. What is true love? Well, true love is your soul's recognition of its counterpoint in another. Owen Wilson, Wedding Crashers. I lead with this because, as some of you may know, Andrew and I lived together my senior year, his 5th year of college. And due to this blessing, I had the pleasure of watching Wedding Crashers on repeat for 9 months. Growing up with Andrew was quite the experience. From grade school to Gonzaga to Virginia Tech, Andrew and I were never far apart. I can't tell you the last time someone called me Steven. When Andrew and I were in the same room, it was big Hars and little Hars. Having grown up so close to him, I figured I would take you all on some highlights of our time together. So it might be a little longer than the usual 2-3 minutes, but buckle up, Andrew. One of my first memories starts with the birth of our little baby Brian here. My mom and dad rushed to the hospital while Andrew, my sister, and myself were dropped off at a friend's house. I vaguely remember being told it was a boy. I was ecstatic, I had a little brother, and I was no longer the baby. My sister, on the other hand, was devastated and proceeded to weep. Andrew, being the kind, loving younger brother he was, cried out with her, wishing for a little sister.
Aww.
Fast forward to tween years. And this is actually a true story. Andrew and I fought, as most brothers do. I would antagonize him to no end, thinking I could outsmart him with a witty comment and run away, pointing back laughing at him, because he could never catch me. And all of this came to an end when one day, he finally got a hold of me and stuffed me in our kitchen refrigerator and fully closed the door. On to high school. There are countless memories I share with Andrew from Gonzaga, but 2 of them really stick out. The first involves someone here, Mr. Tom Kelly. Tom would walk into our house like he owned it through the kitchen door, and he would scream, "Hey, fat boy," as he walked in. And Andrew, regardless of where he was in the house, kitchen, basement, upstairs, would scream back, "Hey, Rosie, what's up?" in reference to Tom's uncanny likeness to Rosie O'Donnell. The second is his senior year. Gonzaga was in the basketball championship, and we, as naive teenagers, decided to have a few drinks before the game. Unfortunately, things happened, and we ended up in the dean's office the next morning. I was absolutely terrified. I was absolutely terrified not only for what happened in school, but whatever father would do to us. The moment we arrived in school, our names were blasted over the loudspeaker to come into the office. The dean and the assistant dean waiting there to tear us apart, and this is where I truly learned the saying, deny till you die. They turned to Andrew, assuming he provided the alcohol. Andrew, as a senior, was 6'5", 280 pounds, playing football with a full beard. And I asked the question, did you drink? And Andrew, till this day, still surprises me, said, well, define what drink means. And they started screaming at Andrew, and they said, did you have a sip? Well, define what sip is. Sip of blood. And this proceeded for about 15 minutes, until they finally let us go, and I walked out of the office feeling like my life just flashed before my eyes. Andrew smiled at me and carried on his way like it was just a normal day. So, that is actually completely true. When Andrew left for college, it was the longest we'd ever been apart. I wasn't quite sure how the house would be with just my parents, Brian, and I. And to be honest, I loved the attention, but it felt like something was missing. And it was Andrew. And Andrew always had this presence about him, and a lot of you that know him, that, if he's in the house, you know he's in the house. Once I inevitably ended up at Virginia Tech, I was scared and homesick, but knowing my big brother was there made all that fear go away. I'll go over to his apartment, you, Skylar, Ross, and you never turned me away. And you threatened the very existence of anybody that ever laid their hands on me. So that was the time I learned that you were my protector and my guardian angel. So for that, I thank you. Throughout those 4 years, it appears that I followed in your footsteps very closely. From joining the same fraternity, to going on the same study abroad trip, I just wanted to do everything you were doing. And well on the topic of college, I now want to transition to the lady of the evening. Katie, oh dear sweet Katie. I cannot thank you enough for coming into Andrew's life and giving his very rough edges a much needed sanding. I remember hearing about the day Andrew was going to ask you out. I was told it was a very elaborate scavenger hunt across Blacksburg. And Andrew was the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I remember this so clearly because I was not included in the scavenger hunt. I was simply told Andrew and the roommates are busy today. And given I was studying abroad when the two of you met, I like to believe that Andrew wanted to include me, but then just assumed I would say, are you sure you want to do this? And I sent you along your way. Alas, I did have the pleasure of meeting you one raining, some would say monsooning day in Blacksburg. And I know you know this story. I was sitting on the couch, eating my delicious Owens buffalo chicken sandwich, when Katie walked through the door. I looked at her perplexed. Can I help you? She looked at me and said, sorry, Katie, that's Lorelei running outside. And I sat back and dropped my sandwich, flabbergasted at how someone could have just stated the fact that it is absolutely pouring outside, and then scurry upstairs to go see Andrew. As time went on, you came over all the time, and your relationship with Andrew blossomed. Andrew became much kinder, and now would occasionally do beer bongs with your dad before tech games. From family vacations to family dinners at my parents' house, when you were there, Andrew lit up, and there was an energy about him that only existed when you were around. I truly do believe you are the light in his life. In writing this speech, I was trying to think of a word or words to describe Andrew as a person, and the word I kept coming upon was fierce. For those of you who don't know the definition of fierce, is showing a heartfelt or powerful intensity. Upon reading this definition, I felt like it suited Andrew perfectly, and I'll explain why. Andrew is fierce. For those of you who know Andrew, know that he can fiercely dislike someone, but he fiercely loves those he cares about, and his love for Katie is fierce. Nothing in the world matters more to him than you. And I truly do fear without you, he would still be living in my parents' basement. So Andrew, thank you for letting me be your little brother and my guardian angel these last 27 years. I want to take a minute to make a toast. I love you. I cannot wait to see what the world has for you and Katie. Love fiercely, love often. Thank you.